You know, there's there's a lot of stories or whatever, some true, some not, maybe all, about the Rockefellers and the Carnegies. But you always have you noticed that even in the most ruthless of rich families, they're still enabled to all those kings? And, the guy who this was his retreat. He would come here to get away from all that BS. Just to get away from the mess. And he did very good things with his money. Very good things. And he literally served in the U.S. military. So, you know what? This is legacy for real, but it's a legacy I can respect. Long Valley Farm, a country retreat in the pines. The native flora repurposed, blah, 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 blah. James Stillman Rockefeller was a grandson of William Avery Rockefeller and great nephew of John Davidson Rockefeller, co-founders of Standard Oil. Although his family was already well known, James was a unique and accomplished individual. That's the code word for different boys and girls. He was the different one. He was the able, okay? In 1924, watch me prove it. He led his crew team in the Summer Olympics in Paris, okay? France in Summer Olympics in Paris, France, earning a gold medal and an appearance on the cover of Time magazine. When Mr. Rockefeller passed away in 2004 at the age of 102, he was the oldest living Olympic champion at the time. What are you talking about? This was not somebody that just sat on their money. All right, he worked. During World War II, he was stationed at Fort Bragg and served as a lieutenant of the U.S. Airborne Command. So he actually put his hands in, he worked. Military generals and political figures visited Long Valley Farm throughout that time. After the war, he resumed his career with the First National City Bank, eventually serving as the bank's president and chairman. James Stillman Rockefeller married Nancy Carnegie, money on top of money, but both of them they had that gene, they had that thing for philanthropy, real philanthropy. And no one really, these are the ones that go under the radar, but they should be on top of the radar. Anyway, James Stillman Rockefeller married Nancy Carnegie in 1925. She was the grandniece of the famous philanthropist and leader of the steel industry, Andrew Carnegie. Together, they had 4 children, and the family spent most of their time at a much more elaborate home in Greenwich, Connecticut. I know where it's probably nice and quiet. They enjoyed Long Valley as a place to celebrate the holidays and temporarily escape from the hustle and bustle of the city. They came here for a retreat. Like the weather, North Carolina weather. The place can be beautiful, and there's some horrible memories. But you know what? This was a person. Wait a minute, and this is a part 2. This is a part 2. All you conservationists and stuff. I didn't say conservative. I said conservative. What is the word conservative mean if it's not about conservation? Miss me with. Anyway, a legacy of conservation. James Stillman Rockefeller's conservation interests were cleared in his use and care for Long Valley Farm. He loved climbing his favorite longleaf pine tree, and I love climbing trees. They call me the Black Alabama Clampett, so I can relate to that. And swimming in the mill pond well into the 90s. I can relate to this man already. I can relate. This is Soul Tribe till the cows come home. In the early 1990s, when he learned of the plans for a highway to cut through the property, Mr. Rockefeller worked to place Long Valley Farm on the National Register of Historic Places. His success prevented the highway's construction and preserved the natural and cultural history of the farm. Before passing away in 2004, Rockefeller ensured this treasured place would be preserved for generations by willing the land to the Nature Conservancy, TNC. TNC further restored the land's natural ecology by planting longleaf pines and native grasses. In 2010, TNC donated the farm to the NC Division of Parks and Recreation. The Rockefellers have perhaps done more to protect let's say this again. The Rockefellers have perhaps done more to protect parks than any single American family. James Stillman Rockefeller's second cousin, John D. Rockefeller Jr., is renowned for his donations that helped create Grand Teton, Acadia, and the Grand Smoky. And if I'm saying this wrong, you know what I'm talking about. And Great Smoky Mountains National Park. In dedicating Long Valley Farm to conservation, James Stillman added another magnificent part to the Rockefeller family conservation legacy. What legacy are you talking about? We have different views of what legacy is. That's all I'm saying. If I'm not going to let some people make a slave out of me, why would you think I would let you make a slave out of me? You must not know about me. I'm just saying. Truthfully, I had some family members that kind of had houses like that. My grandfather's house, wasn't, but I don't know where y'all, I don't know what y'all think, how you think everybody lives. But some of us, we do know what to do with our money. Well, you are the ones, I'm talking to those who steal the money and the credit from us. We are the revolution. We are the evolution. But because you have lived a lie all this time, I could trigger. I could trigger. I'm in my happy place. We're about history today. That's your nature walking story with Oracle Val Jones. Looky. The land. This shows one of its own. That progressed. Taurus. Nature, baby. Real life. What's an empire without land? Nothing. Can you spell, boys and girls? Peace. And think.